Ladies and gentlemen, DB&A Television is proud to bring you a Roar Media production, the nation's #1 digital coaches show. If you do not know him, you better Google him. He was a high school Hall of Famer, school record holder, 10-time letter winner. He was just a boy with a ball and a young man with visions of greatness from the land of Hoosiers. When his playing days were over, he wanted to give back to the game that provided him purpose. He had found his passion on the hardwood. 14 years college coaching, multiple regional and conference championships, multiple national rank programs, coached the National Player of the Year. Winning followed him to 15 seasons professional coaching, multiple championships, multiple Coach of the Year honors, near 780 win percentage. He placed over 100 players to their respected national teams that represented their countries at the World Championships and Olympic Games. He has coached current and former NBA stars. His purpose is now to serve, empower, inspire. Here he is, host of the Coach Scott Field Show. Make some noise, show some love. Host Scott Field.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're watching us from around the globe. I thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Coach Scott Field Show. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to lace them up, and this is where I put sexy back into the sports talk. I'm honored to be in your home, whether, on your TV, maybe you're watching us on Roku, Amazon Fire, or even TVS. I'm grateful if I'm just in your ear as you're cruising down the road, listening in your car to a podcast. Thank you if I'm just on your laptop, your iPad, or maybe even your cell phone. Turn us up, because it's that time. We're going to put the flavor in your ear. Don't forget, send comments, send your questions, emoji interactions, and share this conversation. And when you send in your comments, use the hashtag Spencer Haywood Rule. Man, am I excited for this episode. My man, Spencer Haywood, is with us. For you young crowd who just don't get into the history of basketball, or maybe you don't understand who paved the way for these young stars of today, like a LeBron James or a Kobe Bryant. My man who's right next to me here on this interview is the man who made that possible. We're going to get into that conversation. I've got Spencer Haywood with me. He's a legend. He's an icon. And I can't tell you how thrilled I am to have him on the show. He went to high school in Michigan where, you know what? He won a state championship. No surprise there. Trinidad State, on to Detroit Mercy. NCAA rebound leader. They retired his number 45 jersey. Gold medalist with Team USA. ABA Rookie of the Year and ABA MVP. Spencer, I could go on for an hour.
I'm a Hall of Famer too.
Oh man, this is awesome. I mean,
and I'm a New Orleans Jazz.
New Orleans Jazz. There you. Well, I'm up here in Salt Lake City, so it all had to start somewhere, right, brother?
Yeah, sure.
Oh wow. Well, I mean, think about it. How often can we say that we've got an ABA Rookie of the Year and MVP, an NBA champion, 4-time NBA All-Star? I mean, come on, the accolades just continue. But you're more than that. You're a great guy who continues to give back to the game. And Spencer, I am so excited to say that I've got this book. And I was reading it late last night. My wife was watching something on TV. I don't know, The Masked Dancer or something like that. And I'm watching this. I'm reading through this, and I'm just fascinated. Again, you teamed up with Mark Spears of ESPN's The Undefeated and Gary Washburn of the Boston Globe. I encourage all of our viewers to get out and get a copy of this book. We're going to talk about that book, but I also love what it says on the back. I was fighting for everyone before me and everyone after me.
Absolutely.
That's a loaded statement, my man. Spencer Haywood, welcome to the show. How are you, and how's everything in Las Vegas, brother?
Everything is fine. The weather is fine. I'm doing so much better. I guess I'll break a little news for you. I am a COVID survivor. I've been, this has been my going into my second month of recovery, and I'm just so blessed. I am so blessed.
Wow. Well,
To go
I'm
through that and then to be right here, sitting right here in front of you, and with the book that's out right now, the Spencer Haywood Rule. My family is well, my children are well, my grandchildren are well. All is well with the NBA. I recently did an article about my experience through COVID, and I mentioned my team that I'm really watching out for with a big eye, with a real big eye. That is the Utah Jazz, because they seem to have it all. And you know that all of that whole team is under the Spencer Haywood rule.
there. You go. There
No,
you go.
so because it's not, the ruling was not just for high school players who leaving from high school. It was if you hadn't completed 4 years of college, nor have you sat out for 4 years. And so when I came along, I wanted to do something for my family. And let me just flash back a little bit with my family. We were sharecroppers in the city, the town of Silver City, Mississippi. And remember, there is no, there ain't no city and it ain't no silver.
Yeah,
So,
right.
the straight up sharecropping, and we were like indentured slavery because the way it was set up for us there, because you borrow a little money for Christmas to have some kind of celebration or to eat some food, and then you would have to pay it back during the whole course of the year. And that's how we stayed on the farm continuously. All my brothers and sisters, we worked from sun up to sundown. We made $2 a day. My family was, that's how we lived. And this is in the 50s, in the late 50s and the early 60s. And then I had an opportunity to get to Detroit, and I got to Detroit, Michigan, where I met this wonderful man named Will Robinson. Now, all of this, Scott, and I don't know how people think, but all of this was provided by God, because I had no idea where I was going when I left Mississippi. I knew that I couldn't stay there, because when you get to be a big kid, they would put you in jail to keep you on the farm.
Wow.
So they had put me in jail for the night, and my mom says, "You got to go." So I left from the next town over, because they had caught me leaving. Then my family would have been in trouble and so on. So I went to Chicago, and from Chicago, my brother came over, and he just came over to visit out of the clear blue sky. And he saw me, and I went out and played basketball with him, talking about my idea of getting into a high school, because I was going into my junior year. I had finished my sophomore year in Mississippi. My junior year was coming up. And he said, "You can't make it here with my other brothers," because they were drinking, and it was just a big party. Everything was chaotic there. So he put me in this car. We drove all the way over to Bowling Green State University, where he was playing with Nate Thurman, Howard Kohlmeyer, and all those guys.
Ooh, there's some names.
First, hello, name dropping.
Oh, that's great.
And so so we was hiding out in the dorms. He was putting me in different rooms, because the dorm matron was there, and you couldn't have somebody living on campus. You couldn't have your little brother living on campus. This is long before these stories are coming up now, that like in Alabama, where a player and a team takes care of them.
Yeah, the Disney movie, Safety. Yeah,
Well,
right.
It was way before Disney.
That's right. That's right.
This is in '66,
Ooh.
and so
I was just a twinkle in my dad's eye back then.
that's my point. So then we roll out to Detroit to play in a pickup game, a big event for the 4th of July. And it was not at the 4th of July, but it was before. And it was an all-star game with all the high school players in the state of Michigan. And somehow my brother put my name in, and they said, "Well, bring him up and let's look at him." And in the meantime, we was looking at Will Robinson to be this guy that would help me. And I got out there and I played against high school players in the state of Michigan. And I got 27 points, 15 rebounds, and 4 block shots, and everybody was like, "Where did he come from?
Ooh.
Boy, you look like you came from Mississippi, out of the cotton field." And I was like, "How did you know?"
Wow.
I did.
Wow.
And then my brother said, "Hey, this guy can run all day." And I was like, "Yeah, I can run all day," because I had been picking cotton all day from
Wow.
sundown. So it prepared me for what I was getting ready for. And then he said, "Well, look, why don't you let him play against the great college players that are here?" Because they had their rankings too, was getting ready to play. It's a Crunk outdoor. Crunk at that time was not just basketball. It was not just boxing. It was basketball, baseball, tennis, everything outdoor in these outdoor courts. And so I played against the college All-American, Bill Buntons, Cassie Russell, all of those players. And I did pretty good. I had 16 points and 8 rebounds. And my brother was walking around, you're bragging, "Hey, this guy can play against the pros if you let him play." And so Dave Bing said, "Yeah." The great Hall of Famer Dave Bing from the Pistons.
Dave Bing,
He said,
yes, sir.
"Hey, man, put him on my team." So he put me on his team, and I played against the pros, and I had 16 points and 7 rebounds. And everybody was chomping at the bit. "Where's this boy from, man? We haven't seen him around Detroit. Who is he?" And my brother was negotiating with Will Robinson, like, "This guy is the real deal. He's raw. He can run all day, and he can shoot from outside. He can play inside, and he's got, look at his build." I was like, not like a young kid that was built, because I had been on the farm.
Yeah.
My legs were stronger. My body was naturally built because I was picking cotton and dropping. You drag that sack for like less than a half a mile. It's got 100 pounds in it. You got to put it on your shoulder, walk back to the trailer and dump it out. Carl Malone would know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so Will Robinson was like looking at me, and he said, "Is your mother coming up?" My mother was like, "No, she's not coming. I'm all alone up here. My brother have to go back to class. He's down at Bowling Green. So I don't know. I just want somebody to look at me and help me. I'll stay in the apartment. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I just want to go to high school and finish it out up here and play basketball. That's all I want to do. And most importantly, I want to get an education so I can go to college like my brother, because I don't want to look like my other brothers in Chicago."
Wow.
Drinking every Saturday and Sunday and just, have a wood hard time. And so Will said, "You know what? I think I'm going to adopt you because you don't have nobody here." I was like, "You going to adopt me?" And he was like, "Yeah." So we rode around and we talked a lot more. And he said, "Let's get the adoption papers ready."
Wow.
And when we got the papers ready, I was not in the district where he coached the high school, which was at Persian High School in Detroit on the east side, northeast side. And this family popped out of the clear, but nothing is popping up out of the clear blue sky with me, because God is in control. It ain't me. And there's nobody we know. So all these things are just happening. And we're like, and so Mrs. Bell and Mr. Bell said, "Okay, we got a boy that plays guard on that team. Bring the boy over here to us and let's meet him and see if we can be a joint adoption." They met me and they loved me and fell in love. And their son Gregory, who didn't play, he was a gangster in high school. He was like, "You gotta have him, Mom. You gotta stay with us. You gotta stay with us. This is gonna be the best player." I get choked up about it because he's such a forceful guy. He's going to be the best player in the world. I'm telling you. I saw him play down there against the big guys. He's the best.
Wow.
And so they adopted me along with Will Robinson. And there I was at Persian High School. And lo and behold, I didn't have an education like the kids up north because they would shut the schools down in Mississippi, in my hometown, Silver City, so that you couldn't learn because they wanted to keep you thus on the farm. So here's another God blessing came into my life. This Dr. Wayne Dyer, who is a very famous author, and before he became all of this, he was just at Wayne State University, and he was teaching at Persian High School. And this white guy says, "I'll take him because he's got his head down. Because every time I had my head up in Mississippi, they punched me in the eye as a kid.
Oh.
Yeah, because you couldn't look them in the eye or anything. So I had my head down. My posture was bad. Mrs. Bell, she right away had me walking around the house with these books on my head, trying to get my posture right. I know.
What a story.
This
wow.
is like building this. This is building this athlete. So they had me walking around with this. And then my English teacher grabbed me and said, I'm going to teach you how to speak the language and carry it, because you try to draw, you got all of this. You got bad habits, boy. I got to straighten you out. So she grabbed me and worked with me after school and before school, because I'll come early. And then Dr. Wayne Dyer, he stepped in and said, I'm gonna give him the confidence, the joy of living, the joy of being. So because I hadn't been around white people, and in that sense of like other than servitude, he drops me off in Birmingham, Michigan, and says, you got to stand up here. You got to meet with these people. You can go into this store, but you got to meet. And he sit around, he's in the car waiting and seeing how I would react. And so I'm talking with people and stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, you're going to be a nice boy. You're going to be all right, baby. You just believe in God and you'll be all right. And so,
wow. You know, Spencer, I love hearing this story, because I also grew up in an agricultural area, not in the South, but I grew up in Indiana. And I can only imagine how hard it was out in those cotton fields, picking cotton, carrying the basket. Because I used to think that detasseling and baling hay and, laying sod, that was extremely hard work. But thinking about what you guys are going through and reading the chapter in the book where you talked about your mom, making $2 a day down there. And it just takes me back to like, where it all came from. And hearing that story, we also adopted a son, and he's African American from the Compton, Long Beach area. Okay. To us, it was a beautiful thing, Spencer. And he's now playing professionally over in Europe right now. So when I hear these stories, I hear these parallels, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah. This interview and this conversation was meant to be, brother. And I love you share.
All of my life, the only time I got in trouble is when I said, let God go. I want to take care of this myself.
Wow.
I get in trouble. But let me just
love it.
So when I was picking cotton, one of the things that, I hated it, but I loved it, because I said I was going to be the best cotton picker this family had ever had, because I had brothers. Ooh. And also I was going to be the best in the county, and I'm going to be a contender in the state. So I worked at it. I was practicing. My brothers and I were just practicing. We get up in the morning, we'll pick that cotton when it's wet with dew all on it. Ooh. And everybody used to talk about me with these big hands, like, man, you're going to be the best cotton picker ever, And so that's what my hands was for. And so when I'm picking from a thorn, the cotton is a thorn. And you stick your hand in, you pull the cotton out. So you had to be delicate with your fingers, and you had to tape them up so it wouldn't be so bloody. But, it was delicate. So I picked with my left hand and my right hand, because I was doing 2 rows of cotton at the same time. I stand in the middle. So I didn't know what the Lord was doing. The Lord was like getting me ready for basketball, because
that work ethic was already there.
I had to go right,
Wow.
And so I'm dragging this sack and I'm picking up this cotton. So my whole body was developed. So when I was in high school, Will Robinson started, promoting, and everybody around. We had the Temptations, Melvin Franklin, the bass singer for the Temptation. And the Four Tops was from my high school. So words all over the city. Man, we got this cotton picker up here, man. He's going to win the state championship, because the city of Detroit now had not won the Class A state championship in 35 years.
Wow.
So my hopes, all of the hopes of Detroit was laid on me. And I'm like, I've just got up here. What are y'all doing?
Yeah, I'm just a good old Mississippi boy.
So they taught me all of these things, and also they put me in ballet. I was in ballet because I had to have balance.
Wow.
All before. So this is way training beforehand. And I had shadow boxing. I had all these things because I had to be able to protect myself if I got into a fight. And so, he did so many different things that he was just trying out on me. And it was like beautiful. So this Will Robinson, we ended up getting to the Class A state championship in Lansing, Michigan in my senior year. And everybody, the state of Michigan, the city of Detroit, they all came up to Lansing to see this big game and see what's going to happen. Are they going to bring this trophy home to Detroit after 35 years? And even the players that I was playing against from Pontiac and all of the other places, they were kind of deep down pulling for me. You just you felt kind of good playing against them. They were playing hard, and we were like dogging each other out and trying to do it. But when the game was over and we had won the championship, and I'm just standing there crying like, wow, what is going on in my life? And the players coming over, man, good, you did good, man. You're gonna be the best basketball player ever. And I was like, wow. Coming from an opponent, you thought they would lose,
Gain that respect, yes, sir.
Yeah, they heard about this country boy, and they was like, hey, we're all part of this growth thing for him. And it was just so awesome. And then we won this Class A state championship, and I wanted to let my mother see me play. My mother hadn't seen me play live. So I signed with the University of Tennessee.
Okay.
And I was I think the second black in the Southeastern Conference. But that didn't work out because Adolph Rupp had dibs on the first black player because he had lost to Texas Western the year before in 1966.
Big story right there. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so he was amazing.
Pat Riley in the group. Yeah.
You got to come down here. And I was like, oh, man, I don't know you, sir. I was in Tennessee. So it was just so much trouble. So then Will Robinson appeared again. All right, I'll tell you what we got. I got a good place for you to go. For 1 year of junior college. You're going to love it. It's close to Albuquerque and it's close to Denver. You're going to love this idea. And so we get in the car, we fly all the way to Denver. We're driving, trying to get to this Trinidad State Junior College. And I'm like, man, we're driving a long time here. And then he broke it to me. Well, it's 320 miles from Denver, 413 miles from Albuquerque. You're out here in no man's land. So the only way you're going to get out is you got to study hard, you got to maintain a B average, and you got to play basketball like your life is on the line. So I played basketball like I was like, world is coming to an end. And I wanted to be in the Division I. So I had to study, I had to maintain that B average, and I was studying and cramming. And lo and behold, the 68 Olympics is coming around. And then I heard, Kareem, my coach came in and says, Kareem is going to boycott the 68 Olympics. And Elvin Hayes and Wes Unseld, they have signed their contract. So you couldn't play in. Let me just.
That's right. Yeah, they lost their amateur status.
I'm talking to Donovan Mitchell. Back then, Donovan, you couldn't go if you were a pro. You had signed a pro contract. It was only amateurs.
That's right.
And so they said, they might be trying to put together a junior college team to go down to the tryouts in Albuquerque. I was like, well, I'm the MVP, so I got to go. They said, no, because, they don't allow freshmen to try out. And I was like, I got to petition this. I'm the best player. How can I not try out? And he says, well, let's just give it a shot. And so they gave it a shot. And I had a good advocate there that just popped out of nowhere.
God had a plan.
Jerry Tarkanian. Jerry was the junior college coach.
Yeah.
So Jerry, I get down to Hutchinson, Kansas, and we are trying out and we just playing against each other, all of the junior college players, who's going to go to Albuquerque for the trial. So Jerry says, I got my first player already, and I got to support Spencer. He's going. And so we put together a nice team, Johnny Johnson, all of the greats from junior college. We all went down to Albuquerque. We came in like some stumble bums, and the boys, the boys from LSU, Pistol Pete Mavericks, averaging 44 points a game. You know, you
Yes,
had Rick
sir.
Mount averaging 39 points a game.
Indiana boy, Rick Mount.
Indiana, yeah, Purdue.
Yeah.
You had Calvin Murphy averaging 33 points a game in Division One. This is not like just some make up numbers. And
Right.
then you had Dan Issel. You had Bob Lanier didn't come to the trials for some reason.
Big Bobby Lanier.
We had Tom Bullwinkle. We had all of those guys playing on the NCAA 2A Division One team. Then you had the NIA team, and then you Slidell Mitchell again. Hold on, Donovan. Back then, the AAU was semi-pro. Yeah. So out of Akron Goodyear, you had a team. And so they brought 2 players from there, and you had 2 teams from military aspects, which was Navy, Army, and all of that. And so we get down there, we practicing and playing against each other. And the day came about when they were saying, well, we're going to put together this team, the Olympic team, Howard Cosell and everybody in the press conference. And then they said, well, the first player picked Spencer Haywood. I was like, oh, no.
Wow.
You mean I'm not just playing? Because I was, tell you, Scott, I was playing to get me some gear.
Yeah.
Go back to Detroit and say, I tried out, man.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go. They're picking me first. I'm like,
Get that merch.
oh, wait a minute. Oh, I just turned 19. I don't have a birth certificate. And so they picked me first, and they cut Pete Maravich. They cut all of Rick Mount. They cut Calvin Murphy. They cut all of these players, and I'm like, whoa. So they ended up with JoJo White from Kansas, Charlie Scott from North Carolina. Dean was there, Dean Smith. And so and Will Robinson was down there with me. And it was a nerve-wracking time. And I was nervous because of the idea of this birth certificate. We're like waiting. Where's your birth certificate, boy? You know, Hank Iver talked back in the time.
Yeah.
Oklahoma boy, you know, from Oklahoma State. And he was like, boy, where's your birth certificate? We got to get you ready for a passport. I was like, I signed an affidavit to get into Persian. Came up. So I don't have a birth certificate. And I was like, what are you doing? You're an American. You don't have a birth certificate? No, I don't have one. So we called my mom. My mom says, sure, he's got a birth certificate right here with me. It's under John 21 in my Bible. And that's where I put it. That's where I put his birth certificate. And it wasn't a birth certificate because I was born by a midwife. And so my mom just wrote it in the Bible.
Wow, under John 21. Wow.
Yeah. So so they asked my mom, like, can you send that Bible up here and let us get all the documentation? Hey, wait a minute now. Don't y'all be asking for my Bible, because I got to go to church this Sunday, and my Bible hasn't been by my side since I was a girl, and it ain't about to leave now. So y'all got to do what you got to do to get this boy his birth certificate, but my Bible is not going to be the one that's traveling. So they call the Jackson Daily News, the newspaper in Jackson. They came down to my mom's house in the country there and took a picture of the page in the Bible, took it down, and the vital statistics in Jackson. And they says, oh yeah, we got it registered here. So I got a birth certificate, and I'm off to the Olympics. Yeah, I got that birth certificate.
Wow.
So we stopped over for 2 exhibition games. We stopped over and played the New York Knicks, Willis Reed, all of those great players just before they got ready for their big championship run that they ran. Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, Bill Bradley, Dave DeBusschere, Jerry Lucas, Dick Barnett, Earl Monroe. I don't think Earl was there then, but you know, they was just a wonderful team. So we played against them in a scrimmage. After coming from Russia and Yugoslavia and Finland, we came back to New York because that's where they, disembarked us from Europe. We played against those teams and we won. And that's when Howard was trailing us, Howard and all of the press was like, maybe they won't be the first team to lose in the Olympic Games. And that's the first time we had gotten some praise, because before that we were going to lose. We were going to be the first team to ever lose in Olympic history. And then we left there and we had an exhibition with Cincinnati Royals, and they had Oscar Robertson, the Big O.
Big O.
The Big O. And we played against the Big O and everything. And the Big O pulled me aside, says, hey, you know, he's an Indiana boy too. You know?
That's right. Crispus Attucks.
Just saying.
Crispus Attucks, yes, sir.
I know Donovan Mitchell might think, he's from Cincinnati. No. The Big O is from Crispus Attucks High School. And
that's right.
Yeah. But anyway, so the Big O said, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna win. You're gonna lead this team to the gold medal, man. And I was like, you really think so, sir? I said, yeah. Now you get your butt on down there, because we were headed on out from Cincinnati to Mexico City. We arrived in Mexico City, and we're like feeling good, you know, like Big Odin told us, Willis Reed, and told us, y'all gonna be all right, man. So we, you know, like riding high, and they told the team, and then they told them, let that young boy lead you. He's gonna be all right, because he'll block everything that's coming in. He can run. He gonna do it. He's gonna be all right with y'all. So we get down to Mexico City, and then there's this boycott. I mean, everybody's talking about a boycott, and I was like, what are we talking about? I thought Kareem boycotted. That was enough. Because there was this issue around track and field that everybody was like, wait a minute, are they going to boycott before they run? And so no. And so we had a big meeting. And that was in this meeting, we had Tommy Smith, John Carlos, Spencer Haywood, Charlie Scott, JoJo White, Dina Deveroni, this great swimmer. We had Dick Fosbury, who
the Fosbury flop
jumped backwards. And
the Fosbury flop, that's right.
What are you doing jumping backwards? But anyway, we had Bob Beamer sitting over in the corner talking about, man, in this altitude, I think I'll jump over the pit. And so we had guys just talking a lot of stuff. And then we were like, then they said, ladies and gentlemen, we got a special guest coming in here now. Y'all got to be set up and high in your seats and be respectful. The door creaked open, creak a little bit. And we were like, hey, man, that's Jesse Owens.
Wow.
Yeah, it was Jesse Owens, Wilma Rudolph, and all of those greats came in and started talking to us about the importance of the Olympics and everything and how it's going to be. And we should not create no havoc and do anything down here, because the world is watching. And you know, you do your individual protests, but don't be boycotting. Don't be saying I'm not going to run while we're in the trials or anything. So when the track and field came about, and we had made it all the way to the finals as well. When the track and field came about for their finals, Tommy and John said, well, you know, we are getting in trouble back home, because of, you know, black folks are saying, y'all, or Uncle Tom's, you went down there. So they put on the black glove and stood up after the warning. They won gold and silver. And John hadn't looked over to the left, he would have had, the bronze or whatever. What did he want, silver? Well, anyway, he came in third. And so they got up on the podium, put on the black glove. We was like, hey, man, that's pretty cool. And man, the Olympic Committee was like, get them out of here. Get them off this grounds. I mean, they got to get out of here. We need them out of here.
Wow.
They are bad representing America like this. So they kicked them out of the commissaries where we were staying and all of the Olympic Village. And we were like so hurt. We were like, they didn't do anything. They was just saluting the brothers back home, like, hey, man, that's all it was. It wasn't that deep, but they kicked them out. Then they threatened all of us, you know. And so George Foreman and I used to go and eat in the commissary, because we were the two youngest on the team. Because he was 19 in boxing and I was 19 in basketball. So naturally, we country boys, we want to eat. Like the Russians and the African teams, all of us, we were like being there eating that good food, like looking around like, ooh, boy, they just gonna feed us like this. Let's eat it, you know. So we like pushing food in our hair. And George said, well, I think I'm gonna do something special for America. I'm gonna when I knock this Russian out, I'm gonna put the flag in my hands. We were like, beautiful, George. So he knocked the Russian out, and he put the flag in the hand. Everybody was mad at him again. The brothers was mad back home, like, what the hell? He's an Uncle Tom, mother. So then it was my turn, because we had got to the final, and Yugoslavia knocked off Russia. So here I am playing against the Yugoslavs for the final, for the gold medal. Howard coach said, well, I tell you what, in the press conference, I tell you something. If Haywood loses, and it's like on me then, I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? It's an Olympic team. If Haywood loses, he's trying to push buttons all through the Olympic trial and everything, trying to see if the young boy gonna rattle. Them people in Detroit, them brothers in Detroit ain't gonna let him back in. Nope, he's done. He has to stay down here in Mexico City. I was like, oh, and Hank Albert, Howard, you're so exaggerating everything. So we get into the game, and I started thinking about this, what Howard is saying about them brothers gonna get me when I go back to Detroit. So I make a layup, and then I go straight to the locker room. Threw up, came right back, I ran on the floor. This is in the finals.
Yeah.
So, because all of it was boiling over my stuff. And then, the weight of like this gold medal was like just weightful, And so we finished the game, we won it, and we all lined up for our ceremonies. And he says, ladies and gentlemen, we have some records that has been broken tonight. And I'm still looking around like, what happened? He said, oh, Spencer Haywood broke the Olympic record. The most points at 144. And I was like, I did? I didn't know that. And then
Wow.
He shot 72% from the field. Another record. He's the youngest player in the history of America. Another record. And he also, what else? I did a block shots or something. And I was like, wow, I did all of this. Because I never thought of like doing these things, So it happened, and there I was, just grooving. And then they was calling out all the players. You step up, put your medal on your name, on your neck. And boy, it got around to my turn to step up, and the Mexican fans, they went crazy. The young boy did it, amigo. And I was like, the first thing I was thinking about, man. 4 years ago, I was picking cotton in Silver City, Mississippi, with no hope, no food, no nothing, not even a real person, because they didn't call me by my name. They called me their end name.
Yeah.
Here I am now receiving a gold medal for America.
Representing the
Stars
country.
and stripes flying over my head.
Wow.
Wow. You really can do things in America if you really work at it.
There you go.
That was my takeaway. But boy, I when it got to Bill Hoskett was my roommate from Ohio State. And Bill was like, he said, I told you. And I was like so nervous, and he was putting it on my neck, and my knees went out, my legs went out, because everything hit me. And Bill held me up, and Charlie Scott was on the other side, and he's holding me up. Man, stand up like a man. And I was like, I can't, my legs are gone. And so I received that gold medal, and I just started boohooing just like a little baby. I just cried.
Wow, Spencer, what a moment that you're sharing with us, man.
In Mexico City for me.
Yeah, just the emotion of that, and the pressure of that, and the times that the world was going through in America with racism and everything. It's just powerful story, and I appreciate your vulnerability to share that with us. Again, we got Spencer Haywood with us here today. Send in your comments. Use that hashtag Spencer Haywood Rule. That's the book that we're going to be talking about here in just a few minutes. Love the buildup, because obviously, Spencer, God had a plan for you, and you were going to be a vessel for him to empower other people, whether you realize that or not. And then as I hear you tell that story, I think of the work ethic that you put into it, and the laser focus that you put into it, and how proud you must have been to have come from, cotton picking in Mississippi to, now representing the country and having that gold medal wrapped around your neck. Just powerful stuff, my man. Just powerful. Take us to the point of your life where, now, you've represented
Well, now
the country.
I have to make a choice of where I'm going to go to college, because I have this B average. UCLA was knocking, University of Michigan knocking, and everything going on. And we had just came through the worst riot in Detroit in its history. The place was basically burned and smoldering. So the mayor of Detroit was a Mayor Kavanaugh, and Governor Romney, George Romney, was the governor. This good Mormon governor was our governor. And he says, we need you to come home, boy. We need you to come home, son, because we got to rebuild this city. We got to rebuild our state. We got to help this, and you could be a big part of it. Would you come home to the University of Detroit, and we will let Will Robinson be the coach in your senior year. So I was like, yeah, sure. I'll come home and we'll build a program. We'll go. So I came there and I averaged 32 points and 23 rebounds, the outstanding college player of the year, Division I. Kareem was the MVP, and we were like going at it, like whenever we're going to meet, it's going to be a showdown.
Wow.
Elvin Hayes.
It's still Lou Alcindor then, though.
Yeah, you think it was a showdown with Elvin Hayes? Wait until I get a hold of you.
There you go.
We're talking mess and waiting to see. And then that year, Kareem came out. He came out of. He didn't come out early. He graduated from UCLA. Yeah. The ABA was going after Kareem. We had two leagues then. You had the Utah Stars up in Utah instead of the Utah Jazz. But anyway, that's a sidebar.
No, but that's just taking us back to the history, because you had your Denver team, and you had your San Antonio team, and Kentucky.
So, Kentucky Colonels, from Colonel. Yeah. Colonel Fried Chicken.
There you go.
Was the owner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kentucky Fried Chicken owner.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they said, well, we got to get a player that could be impactful. We lost Kareem in this draft because Kareem went to Milwaukee. And so let's try to court this Spencer Haywood, because he's unhappy that they didn't hire Will Robinson as the coach at the University of Detroit, because the university said, well, we got you and you can't go no place, so you got to finish out here. So they reneged on the deal. And so I was angry. Will was angry. So when they came to me and said, well, maybe we'll take you into the ABA. We're going to break all of the rules, because the ABA and all of its owners got together. We need to go after the NBA, because we're in a dogfight here. We're not going to get no draft picks. They're going to get all of the top draft picks. But if we come in as an underclassman, we can get Julius Erving and all these young guys who want to leave college and come in with us. And so I said, hey, yeah, my mom is still picking cotton for $2 a day, remember? And her back just went out because she had been dragging that sack so long. She's down on her knees, scrapping like a dog, just scrapping cotton and picking cotton. So I said, yeah, I think I can do that for you. So Hannah Storm's father, Mike Storm, the big broadcaster, Hannah.
Yep, that's right.
ESPN, her dad.
Yes, sir.
He
yes,
said,
sir.
Okay, we got to get a press release for this and get it all piled up, and you sign with Denver, and all of the owners are supporting you. And if you get 5 points or 7 points and 3 rebounds, the gambit would work. So I got out there that year and got 30 points, 20 rebounds per game for 82 games that year.
Wow.
And I was rookie of the year, leading scorer, leading rebounder, MVP of the All-Star game, MVP of the league.
Bring it in. Thank you for watching the Coach Scott Field Show, the nation's #1 digital coaches show. This DBNA television broadcast is a Roar Media production. Don't forget to subscribe to the coach's YouTube channel. Like and follow him on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Have yourself dressed and ready to go in the locker room for the next exciting show coming soon. Thank you for watching the Coach Scott Field Show, the nation's #1 digital coaches show. This DBNA television broadcast is a Roar Media production.